gyms will be open, restaurants will be able to open at full capacity. As mentioned, Edmonton itself is a population of just over 1 million, and we currently have 92 cases in Edmonton, 5 of whom are in hospital. For the province of Alberta itself, there's been 2 deaths under 40, and that's partly due to the excellent healthcare system we have in Alberta, which international students are able to access. The university is a major research institution. We have expertise in virology, and we have over 30 projects looking into COVID-19 going on currently. And we've been able to take good care of our current international students. So all our students who have needed to remain in residence have been able to remain in residence. We currently have 1,000 students living in residence as we speak. So what we're offering for all students is flexibility in terms of their decision-making process. So like most universities in Canada, our fall semester will be primarily online. And international students have a choice of when they come to Canada to commence their studies. They can do the online semester starting in September. With the University of Alberta, you do have a 2-week period where you are able to trial online classes. So you can try them from Nigeria, make sure they meet your requirements, you're able to follow them okay. And you can trial them for the 2 weeks up to the 15th of September. After the 15th of September, if you're still registered in classes, you would then need to pay your tuition for that semester. So we're offering students the ability to do that 2-week trial online up to the 15th of September. Hopefully that's a good experience for you. Our faculty and student teams are working very hard to put on a great online experience. But if it's maybe not the option that you want to pursue in September, you do have the option to move your admission to our January intake. We'll hopefully be back to normal in January, or there's even the option to defer to September 2021. The University of Alberta does give a lot of scholarship offers out, particularly to Nigerian students. So if you have received a scholarship from us, you would still receive 100% of the scholarship, whether you start in September or January. So although the full semester will be online, we are giving students, both Canadian and international students, the ability to live in residence during that online semester. Maybe your internet connection isn't particularly stable at home, or you want to come to campus. So if you're able to enter Canada on your study permit, you would be able to live in our residence. And you can move into residence throughout the semester. So if you're able to arrive in September, October, November, or December, you can move in at any point during this period, and your fees would be prorated for when you move in. We'll be offering just single rooms and washrooms for this fall. And currently, people coming to Canada from abroad, both Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and visitors and students, would need to go into a quarantine period for 14 days. So we've adapted one of our residents for students to be able to quarantine in. You would stay there for 14 days, you would have your laundry collected, there'll be medical check-in facilities available, and you would be able to order from room service, so like staying in a nice hotel. And in all our residences, you are able to follow your classes online with the high-speed internet. Just a bit about the scholarships we offer. So we do offer many scholarships to our Nigerian students. and the offers range from 1.5 million naira roughly to 4 million naira, depending on your academic grades. And again, as long as you have applied to the university, received an offer, your scholarship would be unimpacted whether you start in September or January. I know there's a lot of concern from parents and students in Nigeria about how universities will deal with the delay in WAEC examinations. So our policy is if your WAEC results are released after August the 1st, which seems to be what's going to happen, although it's not officially announced yet, your grades at the time of admission will be used to give you final admission. So if you already have an offer to the University of Alberta, you don't have to worry about your WAEC grades being late, released after August 1. We will just use your grades at the time of admission to give you final admission. To just sum up, University of Alberta is a highly ranked and internationally recognized top 100 in the world. We do offer a lot of scholarships. One thing to mention about our tuition is we do have a tuition guarantee. So that means the tuition you pay in year 1 will be exactly the same level as you pay in your final year. So COVID-19 has created a lot of economic uncertainty for both families and institutions. With Alberta, you are guaranteed not to be paying any more tuition in your final year. The fee you pay for your first year is the same as your final year. We do offer students guaranteed on-campus housing, and the university does have an excellent postgrad employment rate. So basically, to sum up, what we're offering to students is a lot of flexibility of when they come to study with us, and we do encourage them to trial the online periods, make sure it works with them. Hopefully it does, and if not, you do have the option to still defer your admission to a later date. And that's the end of my presentation today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. So we're going to move on to Sita John Moraju from the University of Waterloo. Hello, Sita. Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
we can.
bear with me. I'm sitting with a very bad broadband connection, so I'll try my best to do as much justice as I can.
That's okay.
So like I already mentioned, I'm based in India. I am the recruitment officer for the Faculty of Mathematics at the University of Waterloo. So, and since I am specifically for India, I may not have very Nigeria-specific information. I'll try my best to answer whatever questions I can, but I will leave email addresses at the end of my presentation where you can write to get more information. I have actually never been to Nigeria, and I hope I will be able to visit Nigeria sometime soon. So good evening, everyone. I'll try to share my screen. Give me a second.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. So my presentation won't have a lot of COVID information, even though it's more or less the same like my colleagues from University of Alberta and Columbia College have mentioned. So I will talk more about the university, but if there are anything related to COVID, I'll try to answer those questions because my information is very India specific. So I don't know if the same applies to Nigeria, but I will give you contact details at the end of my presentation about where you can write to get more information about information which is specific to Nigeria. So a little bit about University of Waterloo. University of Waterloo is located very close to the city of Toronto. This is a map right here that shows you that we are about 100 kilometers to the west of Toronto. Our neighboring cities are Cambridge and Kitchener. So together, Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge make up the Silicon Valley of the North, or this is where the tech world of Canada exists. So it's city with a lot of technology and a lot of startup companies which are located in Waterloo, and that's one of the primary reasons why Google Canada is also headquartered in the city of Waterloo. Waterloo as a city is a pretty small city with a population of only about 500,000 people. The average age of people in the city are, I would say, between 18 to 25, because it's mostly a student population. Waterloo has two major universities. One is the University of Waterloo, the other is Wilfrid Laurier University, and we have the Conestoga College. So most of the city is, has students and professors and people related to education. So it's a wonderful city to study. These are a little bit of statistics about the University of Waterloo. For the last 27 years, we've been ranked the most innovative university of Canada by the Maclean's magazine. Even though we are very popular for our STEM programs, we do have a very strong faculty of arts also. I will in my next slides talk about all the faculties. We are very well known for our co-op program, which leads to most students getting employed within 3 months of graduating. So we are also known for as the #1 university for student and employer partnership, and our employment rate is about more than 98%. So I'll talk a little bit about the faculties we have on campus. We have 6 faculties or home bases from where you can choose your programs. We have the Faculty of Environment, the Faculty of Science, the Faculty of Applied Health Sciences, Arts, Engineering, and Math, the faculty from for which I work for. The Faculty of Applied Health Sciences, as the name suggests, has some more to do with the human body. So if you're interested into taking up a job related to human body, so we have programs like health studies, kinesiology, public health, etc. So this is the faculty you will apply to. The next faculty is the Faculty of Arts. We have more than 45 different majors, and you can choose any of the programs if you're more inclined towards the social sciences. Social studies. Next is the Faculty of Engineering. We have 15 different majors here, from the traditional ones like mechanical, civil, and electrical engineering to the more contemporary and new ones like nanotechnology engineering, mechatronics, software engineering, and biomedical engineering. These are all direct entry programs. So when you apply to these faculties, you get directly admitted into the major of your choice. The next faculty is the Faculty of Environment. So if you are a person who likes to make any change in your community to make it a better place to live in, currently we are all dealing with a lot of climate change and environment-related problems. So this will be a great faculty for you to choose a program. For students who don't have mathematics, they can choose programs like Environment and Business, and students who want to get into the science of it can go for Environment, Resource, and Sustainability, or programs like International Development or Planning. The last faculty which I'm going to talk about is the Faculty of Math. University of Waterloo has one of the largest math faculties in North America. Math is generally a department under the Faculty of Art or Faculty of Science, but we have a dedicated math faculty with about 240 professors. Again, we offer 45 different majors, so you can choose anything from computer science to pure mathematics. The School of Computing is also under the Faculty of Mathematics, so if you're interested in computer science, you will be applying to the Faculty of Mathematics. The last faculty is the Faculty of Science. We are very proud of our science faculty, and we won the news pretty recently, like in 2018, because Professor Donna Sterklin won a Nobel Prize for physics. We're not just proud of her Nobel Prize, of her winning the Nobel Prize, but we are also proud of the fact that she was the first woman to get a Nobel Prize in physics in 54 years. So that's a big achievement. So here you can apply for the physical sciences or for the life sciences, depending on your area of interest. And we also offer a very unique program called Science and Business. I'll talk a little bit about Co-op, which is kind of the USP of University of Waterloo. We offer a cooperative program, which is one of the largest cooperative programs in the world, which basically means we offer you anywhere between 4 to 6 co-op terms. You will alternate study and work terms. So you will study for 4 months and then you can work for 4 months. And then again, you study for 4 months and then you work for 4 months. So if depending on the faculty and program you apply to, this will be a minimum of 4 co-op terms or a maximum of 6, which means you will graduate with approximately 24 months of work experience. All of these work terms are paid work terms. So you get an opportunity to earn a little bit of money. Obviously, you won't earn so much that it will offset your tuition, but surely you can take care of your living expenses. And of course, the most important part of co-op is the experiential learning. Here are some facts and figures about co-op. We are already partnered with more than 7,000 employers across 60 countries. So you can choose to work wherever you want, whether in Canada, United States, Dubai, or maybe in Nigeria itself. Students earn anywhere between 40 to 90,000 during all the co-op terms. And of course, you get a platform to network with your future employers, and you get to test drive your career, basically, which means that across these 6 work terms, you can choose to work in different industries. So somewhere during those 6 work terms, you do find the perfect kind of a job that you would like to work for the rest of your life after graduating. So it is a platform that will help you plan your future in a very organized manner. We have a co-op department on campus, which helps you find these jobs. And of course, you can apply on your own also. So there are a lot of opportunities with co-op. This is a little bit about our tuition fee. It ranges from anywhere 34,000 to 54,700. The Faculty of Art is about 34, and Engineering and Computer Science are about 54,700. That's a rough idea of how much it will cost your cost of per year. And this is my contact details. Of course, I will leave the contact details where you can write to exactly to know more about the COVID situation, but it's pretty much like what Chelsea mentioned. She has given all the details about the IRCC and changes that are being made. So yes, we are also offering online program. The entire fall will be online. So if you get a visa and you're able to travel to Canada, you will be allotted single rooms, but the deadline for that is already over. You were supposed to apply for residence by the 1st of June. So if you have already applied, you will be guaranteed accommodation. All of it will be single rooms. But if you're not able to travel and you have to study from your home country, you can go for the online classes, which will be delivered in the asynchronous mode. Chelsea has already explained how that works, so I don't want to go into the details again. But you also have the choice to defer. If you defer for the Faculty of Mathematics, then we have 2 other intakes, which is January and May 2021. But if you are in any of the other programs like engineering or Faculty of Science or Arts, then you have to defer to fall 2021. We do not have a January intake, unfortunately. If there are any other questions related to COVID, please feel free to write to us, and I'll be more than happy to help you or direct your questions to the right person who will give you all the information about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Sita. So we're going to move to Laura Nye of Into Pathways.
Yes, hello. We're all working from home as everyone is around the world. So I'm actually going to keep my video off. There's some movement going on behind me, so I'm hoping it's less distracting if there's no video. But give me just 1 second to share my screen, and we'll get started in a moment. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, hold on, technical difficulty. It is about to, hold on. I also have a cat, so that might be what you hear. Okay, can you guys see my screen? No, you cannot.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yes, we can see your background.
Now you can see my background. Okay. And then let me just do this and do slideshow from start. There we go. Okay, so you see my screen.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you, staff at Newbie, for hosting this presentation. My name is Laura Nye, and I am the U.S. Specialist at Into University Partnerships. I work specifically with students and agents in Sub-Saharan Africa. Into is an organization that serves as a bridge to connect international students seeking higher education in the United States, but also the United Kingdom and China. And we help connect the international students to universities seeking to internationalize their teaching, research, and of course, their engagement. So we are obviously in these unprecedented times with COVID, and the US has been in the news much more now with, of course, the Black Lives Matter movement. I do want to start out by sharing that all of our students, faculty, and staff at our US centers are safe. And as a company, and obviously as a person, Into and myself stand for creating safe and diverse and thriving international student communities at all of our centers in the United States and of course the UK and Canada. I myself have worked in the US higher education system for more than a decade. I've lived in Kenya since 2014, where I am right now. And I firmly believe in the value of a US education and the opportunities it provides to international students. I am hopeful that these times will yield in the United States much needed forward movement, and that by the time students do travel, peace will be restored. So a little bit about the Into universities. Within our portfolio, we do have 12 universities. 11 of them offer both direct and pathway options for admission. So you should be seeing a map of where students can study in the US and all the colorful states of where each of our centers are located. As I mentioned, all of the 11 universities accept pathway and direct entry for students who are coming from Newbie. A pathway runs parallel to direct entry, meaning it's not going to take students any longer to finish their bachelor's or master's degree if they begin with the pathway. The benefits of the pathway are many, including less rigid entrance requirements. For example, there's no SAT or ACT requirement, English waivers are available, there's no personal statement, etc. And then of course, there's the ease of joining a research intensive university, whereby your first term or academic year, you'll be in smaller classes and be supported by faculty and staff to ensure that you start off on the right foot. As you progress, you're of course going to be in those larger classrooms and lecture halls. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to talk about 11 schools. That would take me an hour, maybe longer than that. I'm only going to talk about Oregon State University, which is in the Pacific Northwest region. But first, I want to show you a quick intro video that features all of our schools. So it is just under 3 minutes, and I promise I've allocated that into my 10-minute presentation. So here we go. Oh. Okay, so I wanted, you can all hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
perfect. Okay, yep.
Yes, so there was no sound on the presentation. I don't know if that was deliberate.
No,
But,
it was not deliberate. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was just background music. There was no talking.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Okay,
That's okay.
so Oregon State University is located in the beautiful region of the U.S. called the Pacific Northwest. It's in the orange states that I've boxed with a black box. The campus is about a 4-hour drive from Seattle, Washington, or a little over an hour drive south of Portland, Oregon. And OSU has one of the largest engineering programs in all of Western USA. It has more choices than Stanford or the University of California, Berkeley, or the University of Washington in Seattle, which is the flagship university there. Oregon itself is ranked in the top 10 for being one of the most innovative states in the US, and it's also home to Nike. So if you have any Nike tennis shoes or Nike sweatshirts, there's the headquarters. That's in Beaverton, Oregon, not far from Corvallis. If you enjoy the outdoors with a major city within a drivable distance, then this is a great place to study and you'll thrive here. There are tons of gorgeous outdoor places to visit, from Hell's Canyon, which is one of the deepest river gorges in North America. And then there's Crater Lake, which is crystal blue and beautiful. I've been there a long, long time ago when I was a kid. So right now, with where we are with the global pandemic, it's important to understand the online learning platform. OSU has an online platform called eCampus that's been around for about 15 years, and it has set the standard for online learning. So as we go through COVID and other uncertainties, online learning is very much going to be a part of this new normal. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute about students enrolling at OSU and the online track, et cetera. So, all right. This is a little bit of the cost for the undergraduate programs only. So it is a reality that studying in the United States is expensive. We do have scholarships that are available for students, and that varies on every university. It varies on your academic caliber, but typically they're ranging from, I would say, $1,000 a year all the way up to full tuition. St. Louis University offers a full tuition scholarship to just a select few students each year, but typically I would say the average scholarship is $8,000 to $10,000 per year. So this is our cost of attendance for undergraduate. In the United States, students are going to pay banded tuition. And what I mean by that is that if you're taking, 4 or 5 classes or 4 or 6 classes, you are going to pay the same amount of money each semester. The other important thing to understand is that even if you're an engineering student, your cost of attendance for tuition is not going to vary much from somebody who's an art major, for example, or somebody who's studying psychology. So there isn't a big variation in the tuition fees. Then we have, our plan for 2020 and spring 2021. So our university partners are very well known for their hands-on face-to-face programs on campus. However, most of our universities have designed highly ranked e-learning programs that have been offering degrees for many years. Oregon State leads that charge, as well as the University of Alabama at Birmingham and Colorado State University. So when students are enrolling at any of the 11 universities for the fall, they have the opportunity to begin their classes online. And Chelsea had talked, about joining online programs and the benefits of doing that with synchronous and asynchronous. And it's the same process in the United States. With the Into programs, you will have a mix of synchronous and asynchronous learning if you're joining online, and you're learning from the same faculty as face-to-face teaching, which not every university in the US can say that. You might be learning from a different professor, maybe at a different university. We are offering what's called this Confirm with Confidence. So students who want to enroll for fall or spring 20 or 21, if they confirm their admission by the end of July, then they will get up to a 20% discount applied to the tuition. And then we do have additional scholarships as really a way to kind of help reaffirm our commitment to helping this be a flexible process for students. So that's what I have. I know I'm in that 10 minutes. I will include my contact information in the chat, and of course we'll be around for any questions. So thanks for listening about the US.
Thank you very much, Laura. So I would like to say a big thank you to all our panelists. Your presentations were very informative and enlightening. So as I mentioned at the start, yes, students and parents would like to know about your product offerings, which you all presented during your delivery. So you all talked about your individual institutions and, tuition fees, course offerings, etc. But of course, the main topic on everybody's lips now is the pandemic and, how it's all affected us. So we're going to move on to the question and answer session, where we're encouraging all our parents and students who have joined in this session to please ask whatever questions or concerns you have with regards to pursuing studies abroad this forthcoming academic year. So I've received a question sent to me privately. So it says, with the rolling out of virtual learning programs, we want confirmation that international students will receive the same academic expertise, welfare support, and opportunities for success compared to if they were enrolled on the face-to-face curriculum. So anyone on the panel can answer this.
I can go.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yeah, perfect. So the online learning, I think for all institutions, is for both the international and domestic students. At the University of Alberta, about 85% of our students are Canadians or Canadian permanent residents, and we've had a lot of time to plan to deliver a strong online experience for both international and domestic students. In the winter semesters, so in March, our faculty had to transfer from face-to-face teaching to online learning in a matter of hours. So they had 48 hours notice to switch over. For the fall, we can put a lot more planning and resources into delivering that smooth online experience for both international and Canadian students. For students, we also offer programs over the spring and summer, and our registration for these courses have actually been the highest ever. So the students who are taking the online classes and using the online support services are enjoying them, and they have come back to take spring and summer classes in record numbers. And as most of the panelists mentioned, most institutions are offering a lot of flexibility. So with Alberta, you do have those 2 weeks where you can try the online classes, and if it doesn't work for your circumstances, you can then defer your admission. As the university is aware, obviously you have the ability to do that, so it's imperative that we offer a strong online experience in the fall, so students don't take up that option.
Thank you very much.
If I can add for the US,
yes,
you know,
please, Laura.
The classroom location, regardless if it's US or Canada, the classroom location obviously might have changed. But the courses, at least with the Into schools, the courses and the teachers are going to remain the same. So with our universities, our centers, they will deliver the courses that are taught by the same expert teachers and staff, much like I said when I was presenting. And students can still get face-to-face time with their teachers during their virtual office hours and stay connected with classmates. And then one thing that Into is also doing is that we're adding this kind of plus feature. So, you know, as a way to enhance the online student experience, we do have representatives in Nigeria that will be able to provide additional face-to-face support for students. So I'm located in Kenya, obviously can do things virtually, but I do have two colleagues who, one is based in Lagos and one is in Abuja, and certainly are happy to help make sure that the students are thriving and adjusting as necessary. So I think it's important for students to figure out, you know, if they can learn online, because as Chelsea had mentioned, you know, get dressed up, make it a part of your day, plan for it, and, you know, look at deadlines, set deadlines, etc. So online learning is not for everybody, but I think if you have the means to do it, this is a great way to stay on track with your bachelor's degree or your master's program.
Thank you so much, John and Laura, for responding to that inquiry. So I received another question, which says, I want to know the admission advantages for Nigerian students who have written the Cambridge IGCSE.
So for just IGCSE, so just O levels, not A levels, is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I can just touch on this quickly and everybody can comment on their own as well. Most institutions in Canada require higher than IGCSE completion, because in Canada, this is usually equivalent to just grade 11, and we have a 12-year education system. So if students have completed an IGCSE program, they need to either finish the A levels or the AS levels in their home country, or they could come into a school like a grade 12 program in Canada. So Columbia College does offer an accelerated or the Dogwood Diploma program for students who want to finish high school in Canada. But it is, for most institutions, mandatory to have some sort of grade 12, but there is sometimes a high indicator of success if they have strong O levels. So maybe each institution can comment on what they would do with an O-level student.
Thank you, Chelsea.
And the same for University of Alberta. So if the student's only done IGCSE, they would need to do a top-up qualification, maybe Columbia College would be a good option for that. If students have completed just WIAC, WIAC is considered equivalent to grade 12 in Canada, so we can accept WIAC directly into our degree program.
University of Waterloo, you will need a minimum
Thank you, Sita. Please go on. Yes.
Yeah, for the University of Waterloo, you need at least 3 A-level subjects. So yes, again, Columbia College will be a great option if you've just done IGCSE to finish that requirement and then apply to University of Waterloo.
Thank you.
Then with the US, the INTO schools, I mean, you can do a pathway program, which, like I said, runs parallel to direct entry, and you are admissible on just your IGCSE O levels. But you need to have 5 subjects. You have to have like math and science, for example. And there are certain grades that you need to have in order to be considered with just O levels. And in the US, much like in Canada, it runs on a 12 years of education with both elementary and secondary. And so very few universities in the United States will accept a student just based on your O levels for direct entry. They would recommend doing a pathway program, for example.
Thank you. Okay, I'd just like to read out the third question sent to me. Which of the universities who presented today offer undergrad medicine?
It's not introduced.
Okay. I think I got that question wrong. No, that's what the...
So
okay, sorry, Laura. I was going to say that with regards to Canada, medicine is not available for international students. But could you please go on, Laura, with regards to the US? I know it's a second degree.
Medicine in the United States is a long process. There is students at the bachelor's degree level are going to pursue typically a biology or maybe a biological science class. Or major or program, and they graduate with that bachelor's degree, and towards the end of their 4th year is when they're going to take the MCAT, which is the medical school placement rate or placement test. And then there's only about 30 universities in the United States that accept international students for medical school. So you've got 8 years of formal education between your bachelor's degree and medical school. And then after if you are lucky enough to get into medical school and you are able to afford it, then you're going to do residency after those 8 years. And residency, depending on what your specialty is going to be, anywhere from another 2 to 6 years. And so it is a long process and it is very expensive. There's very few, like I said, very few medical schools in the US that are going to offer placements for international students, and those that do typically don't give scholarships or financial aid. And so you're looking at 4 years of medical school, upwards of $200,000 US, and it can go way more than that depending on where you're going. So not impossible, just incredibly competitive, and it's important to understand the reality of it.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. So with regards to Canada, John and Chelsea, am I correct with saying that I believe you have to be a permanent resident to be able to study medicine in Canada?
Yes, that's correct. Similar to the US, it is taken as a second degree as well. So if you're interested in medicine directly from WIAC, probably North America may not be your best option.
Yeah, I always tell students, I joke, if you want to be a doctor in Canada, say goodbye to your 20s and 30s, because you're going to be in school for a very, very long time. So it is possible. It's just a long and quite an expensive journey for students. So we usually recommend pursuing other countries like Australia or the UK that might have more direct options. But it is possible. You just have to go through the steps to get there.
Thank you. So I have another question. It says, considering the US and Canadian strict visa procedures, what efforts are universities putting in place to ensure that students are not refused their visa applications?
Happy
Yes.
to start. Yeah. So the universities work closely with the high commissions and embassies. The visa refusal rate for the University of Alberta is low from Nigeria. We welcome many Nigerian students each year. What the embassy is looking for is, are you a serious student? So if you've just recently finished high school and are applying for a degree, that's a very logical study path. However, if you've had lots of time out from your study and are now just applying for a degree program, it's going to be more challenging for you. And the other area the embassy is looking at is, do you have the financial resources to support your studies in Canada? So using a good consultant such as Newbie Education would be the best way in terms of applying for the study permit. Students who fit the right profile of recently finishing school and have the financial resources and to get their visas with very little difficulties. If there's a bigger study gap and you're applying for an undergraduate program, that can be more challenging, but I would recommend you speak with the Newbie consultants on that.
Thank you, John. So another question we have is, could the panelists please provide information on what provision they are making for safe arrivals for students come fall 2020? So with regards, so would, I believe, I think it was John, no, I think it was Chelsea who mentioned during her presentation that, you know, when it's safe for students to travel to Canada, there might be a need for self-isolation for a period of days. So what other health and safety measures, you know, are going to be put in place, you know, in order to adhere to, you know, social distancing requirements?
Yeah, I'll just elaborate on this. I think in general, all institutions in Canada and America, and I'm sure everywhere, will ensure that students are well informed as to what are the requirements for arrival when we know their visa has been approved and we know they're authorized to enter Canada. Right now, international students, if your visa wasn't approved prior to March 18th, you are unauthorized to enter Canada. So if these restrictions are lifted, please, you know, it's about open communication. I know Columbia College will ensure a comprehensive education package is sent out to all of our students to help them prepare for their arrival, help them make an isolation plan. And we have not yet released what we will do for students because we don't have a residence or a dormitory. So we are exploring a couple options to help students in the best way possible should they be able to arrive in Canada. So what the best advice I can give is just make sure that students, and if you're an education consultancy or parents, are openly communicating with each individual institution to ensure the most up-to-date Government of Canada information is available. So we will provide this, I know, but I can't speak for all institutions. Yeah, if anyone else wants to comment.
In regards to the US, you know, depending on where the student is going to enroll, the states might have different quarantine requirements or self-isolation requirements than other states. That is what we are seeing now. So if a student is able to leave their home country and travel into the United States, obviously if they're able to secure a visa, then the universities are going to communicate directly with the students who are on their way to make sure that they have all of that updated information. Most of our universities are going to do single rooms, and you know, the meal plan, you know, you might have to go, depending on how severe the cases are in the United States or in the state that they're going, you might have, you know, catered lunches that are brought to you or that you go pick up and then bring back to your dorm room. I know that's how the spring semester ended in the US for a lot of international and domestic students, is that if they stayed in the dorms, they weren't able to go eat a communal dining center with their friends. Everything was a little bit different. So one thing with Into and the universities that we work with, all of our students get assistance with their visa in helping with their applications as well as preparing for their visa interviews. So I either do that with a student or my colleagues do that with the students to ensure that they are answering the questions accurately. This is going back to your previous question. So answering the questions accurately during their interview, they're providing sufficient documentation to help the U.S. Consular Services feel comfortable believing that you will indeed return after you finish your degree program. So.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. Sita, did you have anything to add?
No, it's pretty much covered. And
okay.
I don't have any
that's fine.
specific information because from India, there's nobody going. We have a lot of problems in the country at the moment, so I don't have any other specific information.
That's perfectly fine. You mentioned prior to your presentation, sorry, your picture just flashed on my screen, so I thought you were about to say something. I have another question saying, is IELTS compulsory for admission to undergraduate and graduate studies? I think the question is basically asking, you know, what are the specific English language requirements for undergrad and postgrad studies? But I believe, you know, this will differ. You know, it would be different with regards to, you know, it depends on the course that you're going to study. But if we could just have a panelist elaborate more on this and maybe provide a general response.
For the University of Waterloo, we need an overall score of 6.5 band. You need to have 6.5 in writing and speaking and a minimum of 6 in reading and listening.
So this is for both undergrad and graduate programs?
No, I can't talk about the graduate program because I'm specially undergraduate program.
That's fine.
I can just elaborate on Columbia College. We actually do not require IELTS or TOEFL or any external language test for admission. We still recommend it as it strengthens a visa application. However, we do have our own language writing assessment that students will be able to do during their orientation period. So for us, it is optional. They can submit IELTS or TOEFL or our other approved scores for direct placement, or take the language writing assessment upon arrival. One quick comment is most colleges in British Columbia and universities require about a 6.5 overall and 6.0 in each band. Columbia College does have an integrated language approach where students can have slightly lower English scores, and we will do an English upgrading program alongside the university programs at the same time. So we can assist students that have slightly lower English courses if necessary.
Thank you, Chelsea. I also wanted to confirm with regards to Columbia College, you do associate degrees, right? So the first and second year of a bachelor's program.
Yes, yeah, we have I believe 13 associate degree concentrations in arts and science, and all of the programs are authorized for the postgraduate work permit or for a block transfer into the third year at most British Columbia universities and sometimes outside of BC as well. So yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I've got a final question and then I'm going to pass on to the Newbie Education Executive Director. it's a very general question, but it says, considering the social, economic, and health effects of the pandemic, is it wise to start a study program abroad in fall 2020?
I would say if you have the means to do it online, start online. Think of what your alternative would be. What are you going to do in that spare time? You know, I don't know if a student would be able to work in Nigeria instead of going to school, but I'm a big advocate. If you have the opportunity and you have the drive to do this, I would say join online.
Thank you so much, Laura. Okay.
I agree. I always believe that, you know, students should, if they're confident, they have the means, you know, financially and also technologically wise, if you have strong enough broadband to do this. As we said, this is happening worldwide, right? And this is, Canadian students are affected. So jump in. This is the economy that we're living in now. And I also believe, you know, it's better than having a full year disruption in studies, unless you have a better alternative. If you have good work opportunities, or you can, you know, not have a big disruption in your life by not studying, then it's an individual decision. But I'm a firm believer in moving forward, and this is the way the world has moved forward with the current situation.
Yes. Thank you very much. So I'm going to pass on to Mrs. Omonobi. I believe she also received some private questions.
Okay, I have a personal question, and that is, I think there's some good news coming from Canada. Can you tell us about that? You know, Canada now has 3 weeks fast track for visa. Am I correct?
I think that's only for specific countries. Am I right, Chelsea?
No, I know that they also for Nigeria. So
Yeah, the Nigeria Express Entry Program, is that what you're referring to?
that what?
I believe it's called the Nigeria Express Entry Program or something, a pilot program that they're running.
Yes.
Yeah, I do believe this has been launched in that it is an expedited visa processing process. I believe it is only valid for bachelor's degree programs. So I'm actually going to refrain from speaking too much about it, because I don't think Columbia College is an authorized institution, because we don't have bachelor's degrees. So what I would do is, unless somebody else can comment, head to the IRCC website and take a look at the Nigeria Express program. I think you can just Google it, put in the search bar, and I believe all of the requirements would be released there. But this was just launched, I believe, in January. So I think people are still learning. So I personally can't comment too much more on that.
Okay, thank you so much for your response, Chelsea. I'm just going to see if we have any additional questions. Okay, at the moment we don't in the chat box. So I'd just like to ask our parents and students on the call if they have any additional questions that you know, you would like to be addressed. Now is the time to speak up, please. And our panelists will be more than happy to provide the clarification that you require. Okay, so I mean, thank you very much to our panelists. This session was very useful, very enlightening. You know, we've learned that all your institutions have plans to reopen in for 2020, whether that's via online blended learning or strictly virtual learning. You're committed to rolling out a curriculum that would be challenging and that would set up students for success. And you're also implementing measures, to provide mental well-being and welfare support to students. So it's great to hear that students' study ambitions will not be interrupted or discontinued due to the pandemic. We thank you very much for your time on this session. Thank you. I'm going to pass on to Mrs. Omonobi now, who will give the vote of thanks.
Yeah, what a day. I have learned so much. Thank you, everybody. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody. First of all, I say thank you to God for making this possible. And also to thank the panelists for the very beautiful presentations. And I'm sure that the parents' questions have been answered. I want to thank the parents as well that have left something else, maybe their job, to be here for 1.5 hours with us. And I hope you got all the information that you need from this session. I also want to thank our sponsor, FCMB, for making this possible too. They have done so well in marketing this information sessions. We care so much about our students and parents. We care about their dreams and aspirations, and to help them to meet this, we have partnered with FCMB, one of the leading banks in Nigeria, with 200 branches and over 3.7 million customers. So they are helping us to market this event. And what is there for our parents is that we have some parents that have very good jobs, they have good income stream, but they can't afford to put down the whole fees down for their children, their wards education. So as we have worked out with our bankers so they can access some bridging loans. So that is a very good thing that Nubi is doing for our clients. So we say thank you for FCMB for marketing this event. We also thank our staff, Nubi Education staff. They have been wonderful. They have worked tirelessly to make this happen. We have been doing this since Monday. We started with UK boarding schools. We went on to UK universities. So we have been doing this since Monday. And we say thank you to Nubi Education staff and Marie and the team, and IT Guru Tokumbo, and our digital marketer, Ulumide. So I say thank you so much. You have done so well. And for our esteemed parents, we are very happy. You have been wonderful. We must appreciate you because your word of mouth has contributed so much immensely to our success story. And we are happy to be part of your success story as well. We just want to tell you that this event is recorded, and we'll be sending the recording to all the people that participated in this event. And also, for those that have registered and are not able to connect because of one thing or the other, we also send you the recordings. And if you need to have a visual meeting with any of our partners here today, please let us know so we can arrange it for you. I hope we all got something from this, and I know we are very blessed today. So we want to see the applications coming in now. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, stay safe.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.